Shit, chill.
Kendo, you're all right.
Yeah, all right's a stretch. Sorry I got a little jumpy there. Didn't know quite what to expect.
No shit. Look, we're using the subway to get people out of town. You in?
Subway. Well, that's good thinking.
When we get out, there's gonna be a lot to do.
Robert Kendo is one of the few surviving citizens that Leon S. Kennedy will encounter during the events of the game Resident Evil 2. The owner and proprietor of the Kendo Gun Shop in Raccoon City, Robert has been supplying firearms to the people of the city for quite some time before zombies ever roamed its narrow streets. This position as a major firearms distributor in the area would introduce him to all kinds of people residing within Raccoon, and would allow him to provide for his wife and young daughter, Emma.
Emma? Sweetheart, I told you to stay put.
Daddy?
Daddy's here.
The story of Robert Kendo as we know it begins with his family and their involvement in the world of firearms sales and gunsmithing. From as far back as we can tell, Robert and his brother Joseph would dedicate themselves to their life passion of firearms. Together, they would open up a shop in the city of Raccoon. Robert primarily focusing on the sales aspect of the job, while Joseph handled much of the smithing work and gun customization. This family gun shop run by the two brothers would be a resounding success, and before long, everyone in the area would come to the Kendo Gun Shop for all their firearm needs, including the local police force and their elite STARS unit. The Kendo brothers and the RPD would work closely together over the next couple of years, Joseph even designing a custom Beretta handgun dubbed the Samurai Edge that would commonly be carried by the members of STARS. It would also be through this business relationship that Robert would form a strong friendship with a man named Barry Burton, a firearms expert for STARS that would often accompany Robert on fishing trips to the neighboring town of Stone Villa. The two no doubt bonding over their love of guns and respect for their power. However, outside of these meaningful friendships and thriving business ventures, the true light of Robert's life was his family. A wife whom he'd been married to for several years, and their young daughter around age 10 named Emma. For these two special women of his life, Robert would do anything. A fact that would soon be tested as a devastating tragedy would strike his hometown of Raccoon City.
What was that? What are these things?
In September of 1998, a security breach at a nearby Umbrella facility would send the surrounding city of Raccoon into all-out chaos. Zombies would begin roaming the streets, and the citizens would look to Kendo to arm them for the ensuing apocalypse. Robert would do what he could for the survivors of the city. But as his shelves began to run barren, and the dangers of the undead began to become all too real, he would make his own plans to escape with his family. Unfortunately, in their attempt to flee, Robert's wife as well as his daughter would be bitten, forcing them to retreat back into the safety of their shop, trapped by waves of undead now flooding the streets. Before long, his wife would begin to turn, and in order to protect himself and his daughter, he would be forced to kill the mother of his child. Distraught, he sought comfort in his daughter, but as she too began to take a turn for the worse, Robert prepared himself for what he at that point knew was inevitable. Robert Kendo is one of the most tragic characters Leon will encounter in all of Raccoon. A shopkeeper who did the best he could for the citizens of the city in their time of greatest need. A man who saw his family ripped to shreds in front of his eyes, watched them as they slowly slipped away from him, knowing that it was his burden to bear when they inevitably changed forever. Robert lived the life of a good man, a man of strong character, but even he could never have prepared himself for the cruelty of Umbrella's negligence.
Just go. Just give us some privacy.
You know, it's one thing to keep the truth from me, but why him? I want to find out.